Let's start solving Unit 7 Data Interpretation questions. The following table shows the proportion of students passed in three different graduation streams, namely Arts, Science and Commerce, from 7 different cities A to G, along with the ratio of males to females for the three streams among the students. Based on the data in the table, answer the questions that follow. They have given the city-wise details of graduating students. The proportion of passed students is mentioned here. Arts is to Science is to Commerce. And when you take the Arts stream, the proportion of male and female are also given. Similarly, for Science and Commerce also you have the gender proportion here. Now we have to answer the question based on these proportion details. Let's go to the first question. If the number of males who passed in Commerce from city G is 2544, then what is the number of students who passed in Arts from the same city G? What is the proportion of city G? It is 3:5:4. So it is Arts is to Science is to Commerce. What about the Commerce ratio for male and female? It is 53:47. When you take the count of males, it is given as 2544 from Commerce stream. So basically we have to count the students in Commerce stream. From there we have to count the total number of students. Using the total number of students, we have to find the students in Arts stream. So let's first find the number of students in Commerce. The count of male is given as 2544. What is 53 plus 47? This gives 100. 53 by 100 into some x count is going to give 2544. What is this x? Here x will be the total students in Commerce stream. So when you have a ratio of 53:47, 53 divided by 100 of that whole number will give you 2544 for male count. 47 by 100 into the total count will give you the female count. X is equal to 2544 into 100 divided by 53. This will give a value of x is equal to 4800. Do we need to find the number of females? We don't need to find because we want the total number of students in the Commerce stream. So the students in the Commerce stream value will be 4800. Now we have to find the total number of students. Let's take the variable s here. So what is the ratio for Arts, Science, Commerce? It is 3:5:4. We know 4 by 3 plus 5 is 8, 8 plus 4 is 12. 4 by 12 into S will give you the value of 4800, the total number of students in Commerce stream. Now this S will give you the total number of students. So let's take S is equal to 4800 into 12 by 4. This will be 3. We will have 24 and 4. So 14,400 students are there in total. So this will give a value of 14,400. So this is the first step and this is the second step. Now we have to find the total number of students in Arts stream. So they have asked the number of students who passed in Arts. Here they have mentioned the proportion of passed students alone. So we are going with the total number of students in Arts stream. From the proportion that is given, how much is Arts? It is 3. So 3 divided by 12 into the total count is 14,400, which is equal to, this will be 4, and when you divide 14,400 by 4, you will get a value of 3s are 12, 24, so 3600. The number of students who passed in Arts from city G will be 3600 on the whole. Option number 1, 3600 will be the right answer. Let's take this to be A is equal to, so A is equal to 3600. Why have I introduced X, S and A as variable is to differentiate that there are three different calculations. Next question, for city A. Now we are concentrating here. If the total number of males who passed in arts is 2480, what is the difference between the number of students who passed in commerce and science? This is also a similar problem. You have to find the total number of students from arts, and based on arts you have to find the total number of students on the whole. After finding them on the whole, you have to calculate for commerce and science separately and then get the difference. So let's see the step. The first step is find the students in arts. From there we have to find the total number of students in all the three streams. From there you have to calculate the total number of students in science and total number of students in commerce. Once you compute them, you have to find the difference between them. Let's take the first step. So what is the total number of males here? Males is equal to 2480. So they have picked from arts stream. So arts stream male female ratio is 31:14. So how much is 31 plus 14? We have 45. So from here we can take 31 by 45 into sum x is equal to 2480. So from here x is equal to 2480 into 45 by 31. This will give a value of x is equal to 3600. This is the total number of students in arts stream. Now take the ratio of arts is to science is to commerce. We have 2:4:5. So 2 plus 4 is 6. 6 plus 5 is 11. We know the arts count is equal to 3600 here. So from this we have to find the total number of students. Total students is equal to 2 by 11 into S will give you 3600, which is the arts count here. S is equal to 3600 into 11 by 2. So this will be 1800. 1800 into 11 will give 19,800 students are there on the whole. So the total number of students are 19,800. From here you have to calculate for science. For science we have 4 by 11 into 19,800. For commerce we have 5 by 11 into 19,800. So what is 4 by 11 into 19,800? This will be equal to 7,200. This commerce will be equal to 9,000. What is the question? Difference between the number of students who passed in commerce and that in science. So difference between commerce and science. So place commerce first. 9,000 minus science, it is 7,200. What will be the value? It is 1,800. This will be the difference. Option number 4, 1,800 will be the right answer. Next question. If the number of students who passed in commerce from city F. So here we are concentrating city F is 3,240. Then the number of students who passed from city F is how much percentage of the number of science students who passed from city F. There are actually two ways to do this question. So let's take the way 1. First we have to find the total number of students. They have given commerce as 3240. So the ratio is 2:4:3. 2 plus 4 is 6. 6 plus 3 is actually 9. So we know 3 by 9 into the total count of students will be equal to the commerce part 3240. From this we get the value of 3420 into 9 by 3. So this will give a value of 9720. So there are totally 9,720 students. From there we have to find the science stream students. So they have asked the total number in terms of percentage of science. This is arts, science and commerce. So it is 4 by 9 into 9720, which is equal to 4320. number of students who passed from city F. So the total number is 9720. They have given is equal to percentage of the number of science students. So this is equal to some X percentage of the number of science students 4320. X percentage will be equal to 9720 divided by 4320. So now from this we can find X is equal to 972432 into 100. X percentage means it is X divided by 100. So I am multiplying. Overall we get the value 225. This is one way of doing by calculating the total number of students, then total number of science students, and then finding the X percentage here. So whenever you find such statement, just equate it to a mathematical expression. You will know where to apply the X percentage. This is the answer. So option number 4 will be the right answer. There is also an other way to do this. So let's take the ratio of arts, science and commerce. It is 2:4:3. What is the total count? 2 plus 4 is 6, 6 plus 3 is 9. The number of students who passed from city F can be taken as 9 is equal to X percentage of. So out of the total number 9, how much number is for science students? 4 is for science students. So it is X percentage of 4. From this you can find X percentage is equal to 9 by 4. So X is equal to 9 by 4 into 100. This will give a value of 225. So even using the proportion that is given for arts, science and commerce, you will be able to arrive at the answer 225. So you need not worry about the count that is given here. Just go with the ratio. So how do you express X percentage? X percentage is equal to X divided by 100. So we are bringing the 100 to this side as numerator. 9 divided by 4 into 100 will give you 225. We have come to the same answer. So instead of working all these ways, you can just finish the work with the proportion that is available. Next question, if the number of females who passed in arts from city C, so this time it is city C, is 768. In arts, we have the ratio 34:16. What is 34 plus 16? It is 50. So we can say 16 by 50 into some X value will be equal to 768. Because this time the females are mentioned, then the number of males who passed in commerce from city C is approximately dash percentage of the number of students who passed from city C. Commerce is equal to what percentage of total students they have asked. Now we have to find the total number of arts students here. So this will be giving a value of 768 into 50 by 16. You will have 2400 as the answer. So number of arts students will be 2400. From here we have to take the ratio A is to S is to C. It is 1:4:2. It is 1 plus 4, 5, 5 plus 2 is 7. We will take the total to be T here. 1 by 7 into T is equal to 2400. From here we can say T is equal to 2400 into 7, which will give a value of 16,800. So there are 16,800 students in total. So this is the total count. From here we have to find commerce stream males. So commerce is equal to 2 by 7 into 16,800. What is 168 divided by 7? 7 2s are 14 and 7 4. So this is 24. So we have 4,800 students in commerce. Just find the male is to female ratio here. It is 31:29. So in that we have to take only the number of males passed in commerce. So males is equal to 31 by 60. So 31 plus 29 will give you 60 into the total number of commerce students 4,800 will give a value of 2480. Now just translate this. The number of males passed in commerce is 2480, which is equal to X percentage of the total number of students will be 16,800. From here we have to find X value. 2480 is equal to X by 100 into 16,800. We will cancel both the zeros here. X is equal to 2480 divided by 168. This will give a value approximately equal to 14.76. This is available in option number 1. Option 1 will be the right answer. Next question. In question ID 677, they have already given in the question number of students who passed in commerce from city F is 3240 on the whole. So the number of males who passed in commerce from city F is approximately dash percentage more than the number of females who passed in commerce from city F. So again you can go with two ways. The first way is you have to find the number of males, then you have to find the number of females, then apply them in this particular percentage equation. The way 2 is using the ratio that is available in city F. So let's take city F here. In that we are concerned only about the commerce stream. So male is to female ratio will be 16 is to 11. What is 16 plus 11? It is 27. So here we will just translate the statement. The number of males is approximately equal to percentage of something, means we can say it is X percentage of something. When we say percentage more than something, means it is 100 percentage plus X percentage. This can be taken as 100 by 100 plus X percentage. Overall we can cancel this and tell as 1 plus X percentage. When it is percentage of the, we go with X percent of, that is X percent into the value. But when they say percentage more, you have to use 1 plus X percent. So this is 1 plus X percentage of the number of females who passed in the same commerce stream. So from here we can say 16 by 27 are male, which is equal to 1 plus X percentage into 11 by 27 will be female. Just using the ratio, we are just computing this value. So we have to bring 11 by 27 to the other side. 1 plus X percentage is equal to 16 by 27 into 27 by 11. Now we have the value of 16 by 11. How much is 16 by 11? This will be approximately equal to 1.4545. It goes on. So 1 plus X percentage is equal to 1.4545. X percentage is equal to 1.4545 minus 1. This is equal to 0.4545. So when you take 1.4545 and this is going to be 1. So you will have 0.4545. Now X is equal to 0.4545 into 100, because this is actually X by 100. So we are bringing it to the other side. This will give a value of 45.45 as the answer. So option number 3, 45.45 will be the right answer. When you take this particular way, we know 3240 from one of the questions. Males will be 16 by 27 into 3240, which will give a value of 1920. When you take female, it is 11 by 27 into 3240, which will give a value of 1320. Now you have to equate 1920 is equal to 1 plus X percentage of 1320. This is for the male and this is for the female count. From here 1 plus X percentage will be 1920 divided by 1320. This will again give a value of 1.4545, because when you cancel 12 into 16 divided by 12 into 11, you will ultimately get 16 by 11. So instead of calculating males and females and arriving at the same 16 by 11, you can just use this ratio and find it out. What you can do is you can just equate 16 is equal to 1 plus X percentage into 11. Just bring it to the other side and then you can carry on with the calculation. Let's move on to Unit 1, Teaching Aptitude. What among the following can be correctly claimed in the light of assessment rubrics? What are actually rubrics? Rubrics are a set of criteria to evaluate performance on an assignment or assessment, we can say. They can be used for both formative and summative assessment. This is very important in encouraging self-assessment of work and structuring peer assessments. You would have heard about peer-to-peer assessment. If you take 4 or 5 people working together, they will interchange and review their assignments or assessments. That is what we call as peer assessments. And self-assessment is assessing our own work. So first we will see some points regarding those rubrics and then we will try to map it to the statements given above. Rubrics are an important tool to assess learning in an equitable and just manner. It's because they enable a common set of standards and criteria to be uniformly applied, which can mitigate bias. Mitigate in the sense it can lower bias, we can say. Transparency regarding the standards and criteria on which students are evaluated, efficient grading with timely and actionable feedback, identifying areas in which students need additional support and guidance, the use of objective, criterion referenced metrics for evaluation. Let's start with A. It's a tool used to interpret and grade students on the basis of some criteria. Yes, it is about grading students on the basis of some criteria. You can take this point, a common set of standards and criteria to be uniformly applied, as well as it's an efficient grading system in a timely and actionable feedback manner. So based on these points we can say A is true. Any option that does not involve A can be taken out. What about B? A means to increase subjective evaluation by the evaluator. What is actually subjective? Based on the evaluator, the evaluation will differ. That is subjective. But here they have given the use of objective and criterion referenced metrics for evaluation, which says it is not subjective but objective. So B is wrong. Any option that involves B can be ruled out. C statement. It ensures transparency and fairness in the marking process. Yes, there is transparency regarding the standards and criteria on which students are evaluated. So C is also there. So both the options are having C here. What about D? It provides an opportunity to set arbitrary standards and guidelines for moderation. What are actually arbitrary standards? These standards are determined by individual preference or convenience. Actually, there are some set of rules which has to be followed. They are called as necessary rules. But arbitrary standards are, you can keep anything as a standard. It can be any random criteria, we can say. When you are going to do something for self-assessment or for peer assessment, you have to follow a set of criteria and the rules should be same for everyone. When you assign some arbitrary standard here, it is not a fair chance for everybody. So fairness will be definitely spoiled here. So D is definitely not in the list. So once we know D is not there, option 1 is also ruled out. It is an innovative evaluation system. Yes, assessment rubrics form a part of innovative evaluation system topic. So we are marking E also to be right here. Option number 4, A, C and E only will be the right answer. Next question, match list 1 with list 2. We have the types of teaching in list 1 and descriptions in list 2. Micro teaching focuses on specific teaching skills in short targeted sessions. So micro teaching will be somewhere around 15 to 20 minutes, we can say. There are many skills that will be taught to the teachers. One skill will be practiced in one session. So which description is perfect for that? A teaching technique especially used in teachers' pre-service education to train them systematically. Actually, before they are appointed as teachers, when they are in the training phase, micro teaching practice will be provided for them. So B will be mapping to 1. B1 is available only in one option. What about macro teaching? Macro teaching deals with broader aspects of teaching in longer, more comprehensive context. So this can be equated to When a teacher provides instruction to the entire class at one time for an extended period of time. This is what we can get from longer, more comprehensive context. So A will be mapping to 4. A4 is also there. What about station teaching? Station teaching is when content and instruction are divided into distinct components. Each teacher teaches a specific part of the lesson to different groups of students as they rotate between teachers. So here the statement, an approach where the educators divide the content among themselves and students sit with one educator before moving to the other. Station teaching will be mapping to 2. C2. What about cooperative teaching? It is a situation in a classroom where two teachers work on a class together. D will be mapping to 3. Option number 3 will be the right answer. Next question. What among the following can be ascribed to learning styles? What is ascribed? We can say something that is credited as learning style or something that is assigned as learning style. What are the statements that can be taken as learning styles? It is a way how the student learns. There are strengths and preferences of the learners for responding to the stimuli in the environment. What is actually stimuli? There will be some kind of trigger that will be enabling you to respond to it. It is what the learner learns. It is a behavioral pattern developed for any new learning. So here it is about learning style. Learning style does not do anything with what the learner learns. It depends completely on how the learner learns. So C is definitely not there, but we can include A. So fourth option can be ruled out. Regarding B, they are strengths and preferences of the learners. One particular learning style will be suited for certain learners. All the learners will not adapt to the same set of style. So here there are strengths and preferences of the learners for responding to the stimuli in the environment is also right. It is a behavioral pattern developed for any new learning. Anybody can learn anything just by watching a video. I can also call this to be a learning style. Is this a behavioral pattern? Of course, you are watching something and getting to know something. Previously, whatever is written in the blackboard, that is the only information you had. Then you had additional books, articles, magazines. Now, YouTube is everything. So, this is also a behavioral pattern developed for any new learning, we can say. D is also a part of the answer. Option number 3, A, B and D only will be the right answer. So, we can rule out 1 and 2 also. Next question. What can be correctly inferred from the traditional teaching method and support system? So, we have to keep traditional teaching method in the mind and then answer the questions. Teacher is responsible to control the class and teach with the usage of blackboard. Yes, it is right. It is also known as back to basic system. It is actually called as back to basic system. This is also right. C. The student carries the responsibilities to use self-learning tools. In traditional teaching, students did not make use of self-learning tools. Whatever information the teacher provided, that was the only information for the students. Whatever textbook is given by the teacher or the school, that will alone be referred by the students. So self-learning tools are latest tools that you can take, online courses or YouTube channels, anything. So definitely C is not a part of traditional teaching method. Virtual labs are used as one of the teaching tools. Definitely not. So D is also ruled out. Charts, maps and textbooks are the prime resources and handouts are used by the teacher. This is perfectly right. Option number 4, A, B and E only will be the right answer. I have told you why C and D are wrong, because they are not a part of the traditional teaching method. But they are a part of today's education system, not in the traditional teaching method. Next question. What among the following is incorrect about Swayam Prabha? So what is actually Swayam Prabha? It's an initiative of the Ministry of Education to provide high quality educational channels through DTH, direct to home service. Let's take the first statement. It was launched by Sri Abul Kalam Azad. We'll just keep it as it is. We'll go for the second one. Satellite is used for telecasting the educational contents through DTH channels. It is right. What about the third point? The web portal of Swayamprabha is maintained by InflibNet Gujarat. This is the footer area of Swayamprabha website. So it is developed by InflibNet Center and this center is located in Gujarat. So this detail is also correct. The contents for Swayamprabha are provided by NPTEL, IITs, UGC, CEC and IGNOU. Yes, the contents are provided by the first 5 institutions are marked here, and along with that we have NCERT and NIOSC. So fourth one is also right. From this we can understand option number 1 will be the right answer. It is incorrect about Swayamprabha because it is not launched by any particular person, but it's an initiative of the Ministry of Education, we can say. So in that case we are marking 1 as the right answer. Let's move on to Unit 2, Research Aptitude. A researcher decides to tell participants something false about a research session in order to mislead them. The researcher is using, let's first understand the options. Naturalistic observation is a qualitative research method where you record the behaviors of your research subject in real world settings. So there is nothing that is propagated false here, so we will rule out. What about role playing? This means pretending to be a particular character and to behave and react in the way that character would. You will change as the character, you will talk as the character, you will walk as the character, overall you will live as the character. So this is also not related to the question, so this is false. What is active deception? It involves intentionally providing inaccurate or false information to participants to seek a more valid result. So here it is about false information and this is perfectly matching to the phrase in the question, something false about a research session. So we can go with option number 3, active deception as the right answer. There is something called passive deception, or you can also call it as deception by omission. This involves withholding information or providing incomplete information. It means only partial information is given with the intention of misleading the participants about the research purpose or procedure. Here it is about giving false information or inaccurate information, but here it is about providing incomplete information. What is dehoaxing? It's a form of debriefing, we can say. It is a procedure designed to make good the consequences of any false information, that is by a deception that was provided to a participant earlier in the research. When does dehoaxing occur? So when something is given via active deception or passive deception, dehoaxing will be a form of debriefing, we can say. This is a process of getting out of the deception, we can say. So that's why I told about active and passive deception before getting into dehoaxing. So we can also rule out dehoaxing here. Next question, which of the following criteria in research relates mainly to the issue of causality? What is this actually? Proving causality in research means showing that one thing directly causes another, not just they happen together. It's like cause and effect, we can say. So let's see about the options. What is transferability? It is established by providing readers with evidence that the research study's findings could be applicable to other contexts, situation, times and populations. So in qualitative research, transferability is synonymous with generalizability. In quantitative research, it is synonymous with external validity. So it's about providing readers with some kind of evidence. So it is not talking about the cause and effect here. Transferability will be out of the race. Next we will see about measurement validity. This refers to the extent to which a scale measures a specific idea or concept. This is not about what is causing what, but it is about measuring something. So we will also rule out option 2. What about external validity? This relates to how applicable the findings are in the real world. So this is also not talking about cause and effect. What about internal validity? It measures how well a study is conducted and how accurately its results reflect the studied group. Here, one thing directly causes another. Internal validity is essential for confidently establishing that one variable causes changes in another. It is actually proving causality. What is mainly related to the issue of causality? We can mark option 4, internal validity, as the right answer. Next question. Arrange the data sets with the following pairs of mean and standard deviation in increasing order of their coefficient of variation. Actually, in research aptitude, we will be using lots of calculation from statistics. Now we will see about what is coefficient of variation. It is defined as the ratio of standard deviation to the mean. It helps compare the degree of variation from one data series to another. How can we calculate it? Coefficient of variation is equal to standard deviation divided by the sample mean into 100. Now you have to work out for all the 4 options. A, coefficient of variation is equal to 1.7 divided by 8 into 100. 1.7 divided by 8 will give 0.2125 into 100 will give a value of 21.25. What about B? Coefficient of variation is equal to 2.2 divided by 11 into 100. This will give 0.2 into 100, which is equal to 20. What about C? 3.6 divided by 15 into 100. This is equal to 0.24 into 100, which is equal to 24. Actually, you need not go with this 100 and all. If you stop by here, it is more than enough to compare the answers, because they are just asking us to arrange the following pairs in the increasing order of their coefficient of variation. What about D? We have 3 divided by 16. This will give a value of 0.1875. If you multiply by 100, you will get 18.75. So now just arrange it in ascending order. First we have D, increasing order is ascending order. Then we have 20, it is B. Then we have A, then we have C. D, B, A, C. Option number 4 will be the right answer. Next question. According to UGC Regulations 2018 on plagiarism, which of the following similarities constitute level 1 plagiarism? So already we have seen about plagiarism in one of the previous year question paper. So we'll just get into the level. Level 0 is up to 10% similarity and there is no penalty. Level 1 is above 10% to 40% similarity. So 10 to 40 range, we have A, we have 28 and we have 37. B and D are not there because they are above 40. Option number 3, A, C and E only will be the right answer. So level 2 is above 40% to 60% similarity. Level 3 is above 60% similarity. So there are penalties. The first set of penalty is for student. For level 1, similarity is about 10 to 40. Such students shall not be given any mark or credit for the plagiarized script and shall be asked to submit a revised script within a stipulated period of time not exceeding 6 months. What about level 2? The student shall not be given any mark or credit and shall be asked to submit a revised script after a time period of 1 year but not exceeding 18 months. Here, what is this time period of 1 year? It means you should not do that work because you have almost taken 40 to 60% from other sources. That's why. What about level 3? The same thing, they will not be given any mark and his or her registration for that course to be cancelled. There are also penalties for faculty, staff, researcher of higher educational institutions. What is for level 1? They shall be asked to withdraw manuscripts submitted for publication, shall not be allowed to publish any work for a minimum period of 1 year. What about the level 2? They will be asked to withdraw manuscript and shall not be allowed to publish any work for a minimum period of 2 years and shall be denied a right to 1 annual increment and shall not be allowed to be a supervisor to any UG, PG, Masters, MPhil, PhD student or scholar for a period of 2 years. What about level 3? They will be asked to withdraw manuscript and shall not be allowed to publish any work for a minimum period of 3 years and they will be denied a right to 2 successive annual increments and shall not be allowed to be a supervisor to any UG, PG, Masters, MPhil, PhD scholar for a period of 3 years. Once you have come to the level of plagiarism, it's good that you know what kind of penalty students will be receiving and the faculty will be receiving, so that it might help you in some other question paper. Next question, match list 1 with list 2. The types of variables are given in list 1 and the examples are given in list 2. First we will see about the variables on the whole. In nominal, the data can only be categorized. In ordinal, the data can be categorized and ranked. In interval, the data can be categorized, ranked and evenly spaced. What about ratio? The data can be categorized, ranked, evenly spaced and has a natural zero. Now we'll get into the solution part. First we will start with ordinal variables. Ordinal variables have a natural order or ranking among the categories. So they have mentioned it as categorized and ranked. But the differences between the categories are not necessarily equal or quantifiable. What can be taken for ordinal variables? Satisfaction levels like very unsatisfied, unsatisfied, neutral, satisfied and very satisfied can be ranked. But the exact difference between each level is not precisely measurable. So from this what you can conclude? Satisfaction level is an example of an ordinal variable. B will be mapping to 1. B1 is available only in one option. Next we will move on to ratio variables. Ratio variables have all the properties of interval variables, but they also have a true zero point. So they are mentioned here as natural zero, which means that 0 represents the absence of the quantity being measured. In case of weight, 0 weight means no weight at all. So from this we can understand that weight is an example of ratio variable. D will be mapping to 2. What about the next one? Nominal variables. They are used to label or categorize data without any quantitative value or order. They are just categorized, they are not ranked. Ethnic categories such as Asian, Black, White are labels that identify different groups but do not imply any ranking or numerical difference between them. So whenever you talk about ethnicity, it's about people sharing some kind of common cultural aspect, we can say. Anything that is common between them. They are actually labels that identify different groups, but doesn't mean they are given some ranks. They are just different categories. So just see the explanation of nominal. The data can only be categorized. So definitely ethnicity is an example of nominal variable. A will be mapping to 3. What about the final one? Interval variables are numerical and have meaningful intervals between values, but they do not have a true zero point. When they have a true zero point, it becomes ratio variable. The difference between years is meaningful. The difference between 2023 and 2024 is actually 1 year. But there is no true zero year that represents the absence of time. If we say there is 0 year, you have no meaning there, because if you don't mention it in year, you can mention it in months. When you don't mention it in months, you can mention it in weeks or days. So here they say there is no true 0 year that represents the absence of time. Between last year and this year, there is 1 year gap. This is how we can say. So year of death is an example of an interval variable. C will be mapping to 4. Option number 4 will be the right answer. Let's move on to Unit 4, Communication, which is the first newspaper published in India in modern times. In 1780, India's and Asia's first printed newspaper, Hickey's Bengal Gazette, started its publication in Calcutta. Option number 1 will be the right answer. Next question. Which of the following cannot be treated as the folk tradition of communication in India? So let's first understand what is this folk tradition of communication. Folk media is the combination of music, dance, dialogue, facial expressions of the performer. What are all the options that are actually a part of folk tradition? We'll just see. Jatra is the form of folk theatre popular in Bengal where it originated, and in the eastern states of Orissa and Bihar as well as in Bangladesh. The question says it cannot be treated as folk tradition, so this will be out of the race because it is a folk tradition. What about Ram Leela? It is actually Rama's play. It's a performance of the Ramayana epic in a series of scenes that include song, narration and dialogue. So this is also ruled out because it is a folk tradition. What about Kumbh Mela? It happens once in 12 years. But how is folk tradition related to it? Music and chanting are integral to the Kumbh Mela, with folk songs echoing along the ghats and through the tents of pilgrims. So definitely this is also a part of folk tradition. Then what is not folk tradition of communication in India? It's definitely cinema. Next question, arrange the 5 W's of communication in proper sequence. So what are the 5 W's? Who, what, when, where and why. What is who? It is D. What is in C. When is in B. Where is in E. Why is in A. Do we have an order D, C, B, E, A? No. That's why this question is dropped. What is the who actually? The subject of writing usually a person. Who is it about? We'll tell. What about what? The action of the subject or event taking place. Like what is happening. When? The time and date of the action or event. When is the event happening? Where? The location of the event. Where is the action taking place? Why? The reason for the action or event. Why is this happening? These are the 5 W's. When I was searching for this information, I came across another information. The 5 W's of communication model is developed by Harold Laswell. It helps ensure that all critical aspects of communication are considered, making the message clear and effective. Since we are in communication unit, it's better that we have an idea about this also. So what are the 5 W's here? It is who, what, in which channel, to whom and with what effect. So instead of when, where and why, we have in which channel, to whom and with what effect here. So who identifies the communicator or sender of the message? What is about the content or message being communicated? In which channel refers to the medium or channel through which the message is sent. To whom identifies the receiver or audience of the message. With what effect? It actually evaluates the outcome or impact of the message on the receiver. Though this part is not related to this question, you can use it in your preparation. Next question. 3 major actions in the process of communication are receiving, sending, reviewing, interpreting, analyzing. Just think, there is a message. Somebody needs to send it and somebody needs to receive it. The receiver should actually understand the message. So somebody should send, somebody should receive, and upon receiving, the message has to be interpreted. Receiving, sending, interpreting are the 3 major actions in the process of communication. So here we are sending, here they are receiving, and then they are interpreting the message. Option number 3, A, B and D only will be the right answer. So what is reviewing and analyzing? After interpreting the message, you can even review it, or you can analyze the message to get some more details, or you can check whether the message is reliable or not. Whatever you want to do with review and analyze, first you have to understand the message. Only then there is a use for reviewing as well as for analyzing. So that's why we are ruling out C and E. Next question. Match list 1 with list 2. Applications are given in list 1. Communication term is given in list 2. So we will start with interviews. Interviews are a form of interpersonal communication. It occurs between the interviewer and interviewee, we can say. It involves direct face-to-face interaction. So only 2 people are involved and it is between individuals. That's why we use the term interpersonal communication. A will be mapping to 3. A3 is available only in one option. What about newspaper? Newspapers are a form of mass communication. This type of communication involves disseminating information. It means spreading information to a large audience through various media channels. B can be mapped to 4. What about classroom? Classroom communication is primarily a form of group communication. In a classroom setting, a teacher communicates with a group of students, sharing information, facilitating discussions and engaging in interactive learning activities. So C will be mapping to 1. You can ask me, newspaper is also for group. See, when you take mass communication, different background people or different idea people, they can come together and receive the information, interpret in their own way. But group communication is you are having a set of students in the same category. Maybe they all belong to 8th standard, or they are all studying science subject, or they can be of the same age group. Some common criteria will be there in group communication. But in mass communication, any criteria people can come together. So understand the difference between group and mass. What about meditation? Meditation is primarily a form of intrapersonal communication. You don't need anybody to meditate, you can sit and meditate. This type of communication occurs within an individual, involving self-reflection, self-awareness and internal dialogue. You can talk to yourself, you can meditate yourself. You can also go for meditation in groups. On the whole, you should meditate. So this is intrapersonal communication. D will be mapping to 2. Option number 4 will be the right answer here. Let's move on to Unit 5, Mathematical Reasoning and Aptitude. A person sold an item at a loss of 7%. Had he sold the item at a gain of 7.5%, he would have received rupees 87 more than his selling price. The cost price of the item is, if you are going to have a product at 100 rupees, when I sell the product for 110 rupees, that is the selling price. What is actually the cost price of the item? It is 100. So when I have a cost price of 100 and selling price of 110, I have something called profit. What is this profit actually? It is selling price minus cost price, we can say. So from here, the cost price will be taken as selling price minus profit. What about selling the same item for 90 rupees? We say a loss has occurred for 10 rupees. So when we say selling price plus loss, it will give you the cost price. Here selling price is greater than cost price, that's why you get profit. Here selling price is less than cost price, that's why you get a loss. Now we will solve this problem step by step. The first step that we have to do is, we have to determine the selling price at a loss of 7%. So how do we do that? Selling price is equal to cost price minus loss. So this loss will go to this side. Cost price minus loss will give you selling price. How much loss has incurred? 7% loss has incurred. Let's take the cost price to be X. Let's take the selling price as S. So here S is equal to X minus 7% of cost price means 7% of X, we can say. So this can be written as X minus 7 by 100 into X. So 7% is written as 7 by 100. So how much will you get here? S is equal to 100 minus 7 divided by 100 will give you 93 by 100. So this is 93 by 100 into X. The next step is to determine the selling price at a profit of 7.5%. So how will we do this? Selling price is equal to cost price plus the profit. So how much profit is given? It is 7.5%. So selling price is equal to cost price X plus 7.5% of X. This can be written as X plus 7.5 divided by 100 into X. So when you take LCM, this becomes 100 plus 7.5 divided by 100, which is equal to 107.5 divided by 100. So we can take this as 107.5 divided by 100 into X. What is the next step? Selling at a gain of 7.5, he would have received 87 more than his selling price. So this can be taken as selling at a gain of 7.5 would yield 87 rupees more than selling at a loss of 7%. Just equate this. Selling price at gain from step 2 is equal to 87 plus selling price at loss from step 1. So now we have to equate it. What is the selling price at gain? It is 107.5 by 100 into X, which is equal to 87 plus what is the selling price at loss? It is 93 by 100 into X. Now we have to solve for the cost price X. We will keep the X terms together and 87 separately. So 107.5 divided by 100 minus 93 by 100 into x will be equal to 87 here. What is 107.5 minus 93? 0.54, it is 14.5. So we have 14.5 by 100 into x, which is equal to 87. Now if you want to find x, this 14.5 will go to the denominator. So what we will do is, we will convert this as 145 by 10 into this 100 will be retained as it is. So I am just converting 14.5 as 145 divided by 10. For easy computation I am doing this. Into x is equal to 87. Now let's find x is equal to 87 into the denominator 10 into 100 divided by 145. What is 870 divided by 145 into 100? I am just multiplying only these two values. So we just check 870 divided by 145. We can go with 6. It is 30, 24, 27, 6 plus 2 is 8. So 145 into 6 times will give 870. So 6 into the remaining 100 is there as it is in the numerator. 6 into 100 will give 600. So the cost price of the item is 600. Option number 3, rupees 600 will be the right answer. Next question. In a race of 500 meter run, A beats B by 20 meter and C by 80 meter. If B and C are running another race of 100 meter with exactly same speed as before, then by how many meters will B beat C? Now let's take a 500 meter lane here. A is beating B by 20 meters and A is beating C by 80 meter, which states that A is the winner because it has reached 500 meter, but B and C are lagging behind. If A runs 500 meter, B will run only 500 minus 20, which is equal to 480 meter. C will run only 420 meter. You have to subtract 500 minus 80. So C is standing in 420 meter and B is standing in 480 meter when A finished 500 meter. Now they are saying B and C are going for another race of 100 meter with exactly same speed. Do we know what speed did B run or C run? We don't know. So they are asking, if they run in the same speed, how many meters will B beat C? So here they have given a clue that B is the winner and C will be lagging behind. So here they have given the difference as 20 and 80 in 500 meter run. Similarly, they are asking the distance between B and C in 100 meter race. First step we have to do is, we have to determine the speed of A, B and C. We have to find the ratio of B and A. So how much meter did B run? It ran for 480 meter and A ran for 500 meter. Then you have to find for C and A. C ran for 420 and A ran for 500. The second step is, express the speeds of B and C in terms of A's speed. How do we do this? We have to bring A to this side. So B is equal to 480 by 500 into A and C is equal to 420 by 500 into A. What is the next step? We have to find the ratio of speeds of B and C. This is to find by how many meters B can beat C. So if you find the ratio between B and C, this will be 480 by 500 into A divided by 420 by 500 into A. A and A will get cancelled, 500 will get cancelled. This will be 480 by 420, 0 will get cancelled, 8 6 are 48, 7 6 are 42. So we get 8 by 7 here. A wins the race, it is in the denominator. Similarly, A wins the race, it is in the denominator. So instead of going by this way, what we can do is, we can calculate C by B. So if you go by C by B, this becomes 420 by 480. And we will get 7 by 8 ultimately. So C by B will be equal to 7 by 8. We'll just keep this here. In B by A won the race, and in C by A won the race. So here we know B is going to beat C. So B is the winner of the race. That's why we are keeping B in the denominator. The next step is, calculate the distance of C in a 100 meter race. What is the purpose? If B runs 100 meter, we should find how far C would run using the ratio. In 100 meter, we know B is going to finish the race. So we have to find how far C has run. So this is the actual distance covered by C in 100 meter race. Distance C runs will be given by 100 meter into the ratio. We know B is going to win the race, so we can keep it as 7 by 8. This will give 100 into 0.875. So C has run for 87.5 meter. So if you take 100 meter race, B is going to complete at 100 and C is running only till 87.5. If it is going to run in the same speed as in the 500 meter race, C will complete only 87.5. What is the question? They are asking if they run in the same speed as before, then by how many meters will B beat C? So you have to find the difference between the total distance and the distance C runs. The difference can be given as the total distance is 100 meter minus the distance that C runs in the same speed will be 87.5 meter. This will give a value of 12.5 meter. B will beat C by 12.5 meter is the right answer. Option number 4, 12.5 meter is the right answer. Next question. Arrange the following fractions in increasing order. 12 by 17 will give 0.7058. 13 by 19 will give 0.68. 8 by 11 will give 0.727. 16 by 23 will give 0.6956. So they are asking in increasing order which is least here. B is least, then D comes next, then A comes next, and then C comes last. B, D, A, C. This is the increasing order. It is available in option number 1. Option number 1 will be the right answer. Next question. Identify the numbers that occur in the series. They have given the series as 1, 7, 17, 31, 49. This question is not asking you for the next number in the series. They are saying you just find the series. Whatever numbers can come subsequently can be marked from the options. 7 minus 1 will give you 6. 17 minus 7 will give you 10. 31 minus 17 will give you 14. 49 minus 31 will give you 18. What is the difference between this difference? You are just adding plus 4 to the difference here. So when you add 18 plus 4, you will get 22 here. So 49 plus 22 will give 71. The next term in the series will be 71. So now 22 plus 4 will give 26. Add 71 and 26, you will get 97. So the next term will be 97. When you subtract 71 and 49, you will get 22. When you subtract 97 and 71, you will get 26. This is how we are working out. Now we will add another 4. This will become 30. 97 plus 30 will give 127. So the next number in the series will be 127. When you take the difference, it is 30. Now you have to add another 4 here. This will give 34. 127 plus 34 will give 161. So the next number in the series will be 161. Obviously the difference will be 34. Now I think we have covered 3 of the options. We have 97, 127 and 161 in the options C, D, E. So this is C, this is D and this is E. What about 74? We don't have 74. We don't have 95. We have only 71 and 97 when we go in this order. Option number 2, C, D and E only will be the right answer. Next question, match list 1 with list 2. A word is given in list 1 and a unique code is given in list 2. 2 words are ending with E. Just find in list 2 U and U. From this we can understand E is coded as U. E should occur in one place before the last letter. So before the last letter, do you have U? Yes, you have U here. You have another E. Here you have U. So E is converting to U. Now there are two A's in the middle of the word. Y occurs in the middle, Y occurs in the middle. So from this also we will be able to quote A is getting converted as Y here. Just take often. We have the fourth letter as U. So B will be mapping to 1. Often will be mapping to KTFUL. B1 is available only in one option. Then we'll go for peach. The second letter is E. So it will be converted to U in the second place. We have U here. So definitely C will be mapping to 4. We have peach and we have JUYWR. We also found that A will be converting to Y and A is here, Y is also here. Based on these two options, we can conclude option number 3 as the right answer. Now we will check with Quake. A comes in the third place and E comes in the last place. So third place should have Y and last place should have U. Which word is that? It is third one. So Quake will be written as IEYOU in Unicode. A will be mapping to 3. What about drive? You have only one option left. We can match drive to option number 2. D2. It is VHQDU. Now, what is this code actually? Let's take A to Z. And let's take the number of the letters 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 till 26. A is converting to Y. What is the number of A? It is 1. What is the number of Y? It is 25. What is the number of E? It is 5. What is the number of U? It is 21. 26 minus letter will give you the code. 26 minus A will be 26 minus 1, which is equal to 25. This will give Y. Similarly, 26 minus E is 26 minus 5, which is equal to 21 and it is U. So 26 minus the particular letter's number will give a number and you have to choose that particular letter as the code. 26 minus 1 will give 25, 26 minus 2 will give 24, till 26 minus 25 we have here. So now we can arrange ABCD in the reverse order. Now A is getting converted to Y, it is right. E is getting converted to U. Now we will check with O and K. O here and K here, it is right. What about D? D and V. So check whether all the letters are mapped correctly to the Unicode. Let's move on to Unit 6, Logical Reasoning. Identify the pattern of the argument in the following. Habits are like a cable. We weave a strand of it every day and soon it cannot be broken. So we will look about each of the option now. A causal argument is a type of reasoning that asserts a cause and effect relationship between two events or situations. It aims to show that one event directly leads to another event. It actually aims to show that the cause is directly leading to the effect. They are comparing habits to a cable. So a comparison is taking place and there is no cause and effect relationship here. So we can rule out option 1. What about argument from analogy? This is a type of reasoning where one situation or concept is compared to another to highlight similarities and draw a conclusion based on those similarities. This can be applied for the question. They are comparing habits to cable. They have highlighted the similarities stating that as we weave a strand of cable wires together, similarly we are weaving something to make it as a habit. Little by little we are making it strong. Once it is strong, you cannot break the cable so easily. The similar way, once the habit is formed, it cannot be broken so easily. So here they are drawing some conclusion based on those similarities between habits and cable. So we can go with option number 2 as the right answer because it is applying comparison here. Analogy is habits are compared to a cable. This type of argument is effective because it uses a familiar concept, a cable, to explain a more abstract idea, that is habit formation. This makes it easier to understand and relate to. So this is the reason why we are going with option number 2. Now let's see about the other two options. What is argument from authority? This relies on the credibility or expertise of a source to support a claim. It also suggests that because an authority figure or expert believes something to be true, it is likely to be true. If somebody in an authorized position is telling you something, we can believe it. That is what they are saying. What about argument from definition? This relies on the meaning of a term or concept to support a claim. This type of argument asserts that because something fits a particular definition, a specific conclusion follows. So based on some definition, if we are able to derive some conclusion, we can take it as argument from definition. Next question. What in the following can be correctly inferred? You know how I know animals have souls? Because on an average, the lowest animal is a lot nicer and kinder than most of the human beings that inhabit this earth. Inhabit is living in this earth, you can take. What are the options talking about? They are telling this is the premise, this is the conclusion, and they are also saying it is not an argument. We have to check whether it's an argument. If it is an argument, we have to find what is the premise and what is the conclusion. So let's start. We have to first identify whether this is an argument or not. We have to check for a claim. See if the statement is trying to establish something as true. An argument will have a claim that the speaker or writer is trying to convince you of. They are saying, you know how I know animals have souls? It is because of this reason I have concluded that animals have souls. So here they are trying to establish something as true. What is the something here? It is animals have souls. They are trying to tell how animals have souls. And similarly, it's a claim that the speaker or writer trying to convince you. So when you explain, I am concluding such a thing because of so and so reason, it's a way that a speaker or writer is convincing the audience. So in that aspect, definitely this can be taken for an argument. So this point is done. What about the second one? We have to look for reasons. Identify if there are reasons given to support the claim. So the claim that we can take here is animals have souls, and they are asking you to identify if there are reasons to support the claim. Yes, because on an average the lowest animal is a lot nicer and kinder. This statement is actually the reason to the claim that is being given above. These reasons are the premises. So we have a claim here. At the same time, we have a reason to support the claim. The argument suggests that kindness and niceness of animals compared to humans is evidence that animals possess souls. This is how we are concluding that it is an argument. So C option can be ruled out here. Whatever options have C can also be ruled out from the answer. We have found whether it's an argument or not. Now we have to find what is the premise and conclusion. Identify the premise. Premises are the statements that provide support or reasons for the conclusion. It is not always the case where you should have a premise first, then you have to go for a conclusion. The statements can be in any order. All you need to search is what is the reason for a particular conclusion. What reasons are given to support the conclusion? That reason is actually the premise. What are the premise indicators? Because, since, given that, for, as, due to, in that. So from this we know because on an average they are explaining the lowest animal is a lot nicer. Definitely this part will be taken as the premise. If you find these indicators in the statement, you can identify them to be the premise. Then what is the conclusion here? Identify the conclusion. The conclusion is the main point the argument is trying to make. What are they actually trying to tell you in this argument? They are trying to tell you that animals have souls. What is the speaker or writer trying to prove? They are trying to prove that animals have souls. What are the conclusion indicators? Therefore, thus, Hence, consequently, so it follows that we can conclude that any of these indicators will say it's a conclusion. Here, you can just rephrase the sentence. Because on an average, the lowest animal is a lot nicer and kinder than most of the human beings that inhabit this earth, we can therefore conclude that animals have souls. So, though this particular argument is not using any of the indicators here, you have to assume that if there is an indicator, will it be applicable there. Now, let's check A. Premise. The lowest animal is a lot nicer and kinder than most human beings that inhabit this earth. B. Premise is animals have soul. This is actually the conclusion. So, B is also ruled out. So, A will be taken as the premise because here they are saying the argument suggests that kindness and niceness of animals are compared to humans, and this serves as the evidence to animals possess souls. This part is actually conclusion. So, this part should definitely be the premise. So, A is the premise. What about the conclusion? They have given D option as the lowest animal is a lot nicer and kinder. So, this statement is actually the premise. So, we can also rule out D. By ruling out D, we are also ruling out option 4. What about E? The conclusion states animals have souls. So, E can be included because they are rightly stating animals have souls as the conclusion. So, what are the options that are actually correct here? The premise in option A and the conclusion in option E are correct. Option number 3, A and E only will be the right answer. And we are not including C because it is definitely an argument because it contains a premise and conclusion. Next question. What can be inferred correctly from the following? No musicians are Greeks. All traders are musicians. Therefore, no traders are Greeks. So, from this we can understand using the conclusion indicator, this is definitely the conclusion. So, what should be the premise here? The first premise will be no musicians are Greeks. The second premise will be all traders are musicians. And the conclusion will be therefore no traders are Greeks. So, each option is talking about one thing. Now we will start with the first option, figure 2 of syllogistic argument. In categorical syllogism, in figure 2, the middle term is the predicate in both the major and minor premises. What is actually predicate? When you have a statement like this, the first word will be called as the subject and the second word will be called as the predicate. So, predicate in the sense whatever is coming in the end of the premise. The middle term is the predicate in both the major and minor premises they have given. So, how will figure 2 structure be? Predicate is middle term, subject is middle term. From here they conclude this subject is predicate. In premise 1, the predicate given here is Greeks. In premise 2, the predicate given here is musicians. But in figure 2, the same term should come in the predicate side. So, take this to be the subject and this to be the predicate. Do we have the same terms in premise 1 and premise 2 in the place of predicates? No. We are having Greeks in one premise and musicians in another premise. So, from here we can conclude that this is not figure 2. Since we get the word middle term here, we will try to pick the minor term, major term and middle term from the given question. The major term is the predicate of the conclusion. What is the predicate of the conclusion here? This is subject and this is predicate. So, Greeks will be the major term here. What about the minor term? The subject of the conclusion will be the minor term. So, traders will be the minor term. What is the middle term? The term that appears in both the premises but not in the conclusion. No musicians are Greeks, all traders are musicians. Which term is actually appearing in both the premises? Musicians. So, the middle term will be musicians. Now, just apply this to the figure 2 structure. The middle term is the predicate in both the major and minor premises. Here we have to check whether the premises are ending with musicians. It means whether the predicate of the premises are musicians. No musicians. Here musicians is the subject and here it is the predicate. But here the condition is the middle term musicians should be the predicate in both the premises. The middle term musicians is the subject in the major premise here and the predicate in the minor premise. This one. So this they have taken as major premise and this as minor premise. This structure fits figure 1 and not figure 2. So figure 2 format I have given you here. So the question is representing figure 1 of categorical syllogism. From this what we can do? We can rule out A because it is not figure 2. It is actually figure 1. What options involve A, 1 and 4? So I am ruling out them. Now we have to check for B statement. It is an EAE mood. What it is actually? E means universal negative and A means universal affirmative. When a statement is like no subject is predicate, that comes under universal negative. When we have all subject is predicate, that becomes universal affirmative. Now just check. The first statement is no musicians are Greeks. So I have just used only the first letter of the word because I didn't have much space here. No musicians are Greeks. This is in the form of universal negative. So E is done. Next we have all traders are musicians. Here we have the form of universal affirmative. This is also fine. What about the conclusion here? No traders are Greeks. We are not getting into therefore and all. Just take only the statement. No traders are Greeks. This also follows universal negative. So EAE is perfectly right here. So B can be included in the answer. The only option now that includes B will be option 2. So here we can rule out option 3 also. Let's go to C. The term Greeks is the major term. Yes, the major term is Greeks here. How did we find it? It should be the predicate of the conclusion. What is the predicate of the conclusion? Greeks is the predicate of the conclusion. So C is also right. So we have C here. Now we will get on to D. The minor term of the conclusion is distributed. The conclusion is no traders are Greeks. The subject of the conclusion will be the minor term here. Traders is the subject of the conclusion and is distributed because it refers to all traders. None of them are Greeks. No traders are Greeks can be otherwise stated as all the traders are not Greeks. Here whom are we referring? We are referring to all the traders here. When we say a particular term is distributed, it means it should refer to all of them. We can say the minor term traders is distributed in the conclusion. It is because they have told no traders are Greeks, where none of them are Greeks can be taken as the meaning. It means all the traders are included in that particular conclusion. So the minor term traders is distributed in the conclusion is true. We are marking D also. So based on this we can mark option 2 to be the right answer for this question. Now we have to understand why E is wrong. The middle term is undistributed. What is the middle term? Musicians is the middle term. Let's take the first premise. No musicians are Greeks. Here musicians is distributed because it refers to all musicians. So it is distributed here. Now we will check the second premise. All traders are musicians. In this case, musicians is not distributed because it does not refer to all musicians, only to those who are traders. Here the remark is on the traders and here the focus is not on all musicians. So here we cannot say it is distributed. So in the second premise it is not distributed. When you have distributed in both the premises, we can say the middle term is distributed. When we have undistributed in both the premises, we can say it is undistributed. But here in one premise it is distributed and one premise it is not distributed. How should we take this? Since the middle term musicians is distributed in the first premise but not in the second, it is not undistributed in both premises. Since the statement here is talking about undistributed, we are marking it in terms of not undistributed to tell that E is wrong. Therefore, the middle term musicians is not undistributed in this syllogism. So, with this we can conclude E is definitely wrong. So, in this question, what are the things we learnt? We learnt how to get premises and conclusion from a particular statement. Then we found which is the major term, minor term and the middle term. We learnt about figure 2 structure and figure 1 structure in categorical syllogism. We learnt about universal negative and universal affirmative mood. Along with that, we also understood what is distributed and what is undistributed. You have these many learning in this particular question. Kindly use it in your preparation. Next question, match list 1 with list 2. List 1 has the forms of non-existence and list 2 has its representation. Anyonya bhava, atyanta bhava, pragabhava, pradvamsa bhava. Every word is ending with abhava. Abhava in Nyaya Vaisheshika tradition refers to non-existence, negation or absence we can say. Here are the 4 main types of abhava. The first one is pragabhava. This is prior non-existence. It is the absence of an effect in its cause before production. In other words, in what way we can understand is it has no beginning but ends when the effect is produced. What about pradvam sabhava? It is posterior non-existence. The absence of an effect after its destruction. It has a beginning but no end. What about atyanta bhava? It is absolute non-existence. The complete absence of an entity in all times and places. What about anyonya bhava? It is mutual non-existence. Absence of identity between two distinct entities. Now what we will do is we will pick list 2 representation and from there we will try to map it to list 1. So let's start with hare's horn. A hare's horn. What is actually a hare? A large sized rabbit we can say. Rabbit has ears but no horns. It means it is talking about non-existence. A hare's horn is an example of something that does not exist at any time or place. Such a creature is not there, making it a perfect representation of atyanta bhava. What is atyanta bhava? It is absolute non-existence. It is the complete absence of an entity in all times and places. When you cannot find horn in a rabbit, definitely that comes under atyanta bhava. So we can map B to 1. The only option that maps B to 1 is option 3. So we can rule out the other 3 options. Now let's go to the second statement in list 2. There is non-existence of the jar now. It means a jar was there but now it is not there. The non-existence of the jar now after it has been destroyed signifies the posterior non-existence of an entity. Which abhava is talking about posterior non-existence? It is this one, which begins after the entity is destroyed and continues indefinitely. This is referred to as pradvam sabhava. So we can mark D to 2. So how do we actually connect this? We say it's an absence of an effect after its destruction. It has a beginning but no end. So we can compare like there is a jar or there was a jar but now it is not there. What about the next statement? This is not that. In second statement, the jar was actually there but now it is not there. But in third statement, it is like this is not that. You don't know what is this and you don't know what is that. But they are saying this is not that. It highlights that one thing is not another thing, emphasizing their distinctness, which signifies the absence of identity between two distinct entities. Where are we actually coming? We are coming to mutual non-existence. The absence of identity between two distinct entities. What are the entities here? One is this and another one is that. This can be anything, that can be anything. We are not bothered about those things. But here this is illustrating anyonya bhava, which refers to mutual non-existence. We don't know what is this. We don't know what is that. Just based on two unknown things, we are concluding that this is not that. So here we can map A to 3. So from here we can mark option number 3 to be the right answer. All these three options are right. So we are going with option 3. Option C is actually mapping to the wrong representation. I'll tell you why. The temporary absence of a thing signifies the temporary non-existence of an entity in a particular place or context, which can change over time. Does any of the four above are talk about temporary non-existence? Nowhere we are talking about temporary absence, which states that C does not have an equal representation here. Then what is this fourth statement? This is referred to as Sansarga Bhava. So I am not including the context of Sansarga Bhava in this particular explanation. Whatever is given in list 1, those terms only I have mentioned here. So the right answer for temporary absence of a thing will be Sansarga Bhava. So that's why I concluded the answer with A, B and D. Next question. Among the following, which is correct in the context of Sabda Pramana? So what is Sabda Pramana? It is one of the 6 pramanas. Pramanas in the sense we can say they are the means of knowledge in Indian philosophy. It refers to the knowledge gained through verbal testimony or authoritative words such as scriptures or the words of a reliable person. Either the source should be reliable or it should be taken from known scripture, we can say. Now let's look at the 4 options. Prakriti is considered the universal substance that underlies all physical and mental phenomena. Sabda Pramana is a valid means of knowledge in Samkhya. It is not specifically used to signify the universal. The first option says that for Samkhya, a word signifies universal. So what signifies the universal there? We have a word called Prakriti. Prakriti serves the role within the Samkhya framework. We are actually human beings. In scientific name, we will be called as Homo sapiens. All the living things have a different name in scientific terms. Similarly, in Samkhya, a word does not signify universal. Prakriti is used to signify universal. So definitely one is not the right answer. What about the second statement? For Jainas, a word signifies a particular. It is talking about something specific. Jainas emphasize the concept of Anegantavada, which means the doctrine of manifold aspects. What is manifold? You have multiple aspects, we can say. This suggests that any statement or word can have multiple perspectives and interpretations rather than signifying a single particular meaning. So here they say it signifies a particular, but here they say there are multiple perspectives based on this concept. So definitely 2 is also not right. What about the third statement? For old Nyaya, a word symbolizes universal only. In the context of Sabda Pramana, within the Nyaya philosophy, words or otherwise called as Sabda do not symbolize the entire universe. So it is not for universal. Rather, they serve as a means of conveying specific meanings, concepts or reference. Nyaya recognizes that words can denote particular objects, qualities or actions within the universe depending on the context. So here a word may symbolize something specific and not universal. So that's why we are ruling out even option 3. But in Jainas, a word signifies multiple perspective and interpretation and it does not restrict itself to a particular thing. From this, we obviously know fourth one should be the answer. We'll just see. For Vedantins, a word primarily means the class character of individuals. In the context of Sabda Pramana within Vedanta philosophy, it is accurate to say that a word primarily signifies the class character or essence of individuals or objects. This statement is perfectly matching with fourth statement. So we can mark option number 4 as the right answer to this question. Vedantins argue that words do not just refer to specific instances, but rather denote the general qualities or categories that categorize a class of entities. Here also it is not going specific, but to a class of entities. That is where we map class character of individuals. Let's move on to Unit 8, Information and Communication Technology. If L to the base m represents a number L in base m number system, then what will be the value of 107 to the base 16 plus 257 to the base 16? From the base 16, we will be able to understand that we are going to work with hexadecimal numbers. So in computers, we have decimal number system with base 10 and the digits will be ranging from 0 to 9. Then we have binary number system with the base 2, the digits will be just 0 and 1. Then we have octal number system with base 8, the digits will be ranging from 0 to 7. Then we have hexadecimal number system with base 16. So how the 60 digits will be? 0 to 9, it is from decimal number. From 10 to 15, we have to represent it using A to F. So we will not be using 10 to 15, but we will use from A to F. This 16 base is what is given in the question. Now this addition can be done in two ways. Find decimal equivalent of both the numbers and then add. This is way 1. What about way 2? You have to add in base 16 and then convert to decimal. First let me start with way 1. We will convert the hexadecimal numbers to decimal and then perform addition because the answer is going to be in decimal only. So let's start with 107 to the base 16. How do you convert a number in different base to decimal base? You have to raise it to the power of base. You have to do like this: 16 power 0, 16 power 1, 16 power 2. This is how you will be raising to the power of the base. So first you will have 7, then you will have 0, then you will have 1. 16 power 0 should start from this side. This will be into 16 power 1 and this will be into 16 power 2. Now you have to add all these terms. 1 into 16 into 16 will give you 256 plus 0 into 16 power 1 is 0. 7 into 16 power 0 is 1. 256 plus 7 will give 263 in base 10. What about 257 to the base 16? So let's take 7, 5 and 2. We have 16 power 0, 16 power 1 and 16 power 2. Then we are adding all the terms. 2 into 256 plus 5 into 16 plus 7 into 1. 2 into 256 will be 512 plus 16 into 5 is 80 plus 7 into 1 is 7. Altogether you will have 599 to the base 10. Now you have base 10, you know how to add in decimal. So let's go for addition. 263 plus 599. 9 plus 3 is 12. 1 plus 6 is 7 plus 9 is 16. 1 plus 2 is 3 plus 5 is 8. So the sum of these two numbers will be 862 to the base 10. Option number 2 will be the right answer. This is how we will be doing by way 1. What about this way 2? In this channel you have a series called CS Connect series. If you want to understand way 2, it's better you watch arithmetic operations using base R video in CS Connect playlist. I will just tell you how to do this. You can take both the numbers in hexadecimal format. So the first number is 107 and the second number is 257. In hexadecimal, A is 10, B is 11, C is 12, D is 13, E is 14, F is 15. Just remember them along with 0 to 9. Now when you add 7 plus 7, it will give you 14. You have to use the numbers that is only available in the base. That is from 0 to 9 or A to F. So for this particular sum, we are having 7 plus 7 which is equal to 14. What is 14 here? It is E. What is 0 plus 5? It is 5. What is 1 plus 2? It is 3. We have 3, 5, E to the base 16 as the answer. Now just find 3, 5. What is E? It is 14. Now apply 16 power 0, 16 power 1 and 16 power 2. Just add these terms. You will get 3 into 256 plus 5 into 16 plus 14 into 1. What is 3 into 256? We have 18, 16 and 7. 768 plus 5 into 16 is 80 plus 14 into 1 is 14. Just add 768, 80 and 14. 8 plus 4 is 12, 1 plus 6 is 7 plus 8 is 15 plus 1 is 16. You will get 862 here also. Since you are converting to decimal, we are using base 10. But what happens when you get 107 and 259 here? 9 plus 7 will give you 16. But in hexadecimal number, you don't have 16. So there is a separate procedure on how to take carry in base R related numbers. That's why I said if you want to know this particular method of addition, please refer to arithmetic operations using base R in CS Connect playlist. You will definitely understand how to perform addition and multiplication using any base. Next question. In computer networking, an IP version 6 is how many times larger than an IP version 4 address? IPv6 utilizes 128-bit internet addresses. Therefore, it can support 2 power 128 internet addresses. What about IPv4? It uses 32-bit address, allowing us to store 2 power 32 addresses. How can you express 128 in terms of 2 power? So we know 2 power 0 is 1, 2 power 1 is 2, 2 power 2 is 4, 2 power 3 is 8, 2 power 4 is 16, 2 power 5 is 32, 2 power 6 is 64, 2 power 7 is 128. So this is 2 power 7. What about 32? It is 2 power 5. When you find 2 power 7 minus 5, that is when you divide this, you will get 2 power 2 which is equal to 4. So how many times it is actually larger? It is 4 times larger. Option number 2 will be the right answer. Though the IP header size of IPv6 is 4 times larger than IPv4 address, the IPv6 headers are only 2 times the size of IPv4. Next question. Identify the correct order of the following major technological changes A to D in the development of computers based on first to fourth generation of computers. First generation computers used vacuum tube. So this is C. Second generation used transistors. This is A. Third generation used integrated circuits. It is D. Fourth generation used microprocessor. So this will be B. CADB is available here. Option number 4 will be the right answer. Fifth generation computers are artificial intelligence based. Next question. To record voice narration for your Microsoft PowerPoint presentation, your computer must have. Microsoft PowerPoint software does not need internet connection, we can say. How do you record something? So definitely microphone is included in the answer. Generally, when you have Microsoft Office installed in your system, you need not have internet connection for this purpose. So internet connection is not mandatory here. They are asking about must have. What about speakers? You are going to record something. Speaker is going to just give output in the form of voice only or audio. So speaker is also not a part of the answer. And external video port. The term itself says it's video port. So this is also not there. What about sound card? A sound card is a computer component responsible for generating and recording audio. It enables users to connect analog speakers, headphones and microphones to their computer. So definitely sound card is a part of the answer. Option number 3, A and E only will be the right answer. Next question. Match list 1 with list 2. List 1 has internet terms and list 2 has description. What are actually blogs? It's like some kind of journal, we can say. So personal internet journals are what blogs are. A will be mapping to 4. The only option that maps A to 4 is option 3. What about podcast? Podcast means it's a series of digital media files. So B will be mapping to 3. What about tagging? Tagging means you could have come across this term in social media. So this is like a type of bookmarking where a user marks a web page or photo using text to describe its content. We can map C to 2. What about wikis? They allow users to create and edit web pages using a browser. D will be mapping to 1. Option number 3 will be the right answer. Let's move on to Unit 9, People, Development and Environment. The amount of biomass produced by the plants through photosynthesis minus respiration losses in a given period of time is known as gross primary production or gross primary productivity is the total amount of carbon compounds produced by photosynthesis of plants in an ecosystem in a given period of time. Or we can take it as the total amount of energy fixed in an ecosystem in unit time, including the organic matter used up in respiration during the measurement period. When you take employment related detail, there will be something called gross salary and net salary. After some deductions from the gross salary, you will be taking the net salary. So here they say some kind of biomass minus the respiration loss. So this can never be gross related term. So just based on this idea, you can rule out 1 and 3. Now we will see about the other two options. Net primary productivity is the amount of carbon retained in an ecosystem. That is the biomass part they have mentioned in the question. It is equal to the difference between the amount of carbon produced through photosynthesis, that is the GPP part, and the amount of energy that is used for respiration. So this can be taken as NPP is equal to GPP minus the respiration loss. This is what they have given in the question, and this is what I tried to explain you using employee gross salary and net salary. So option number 2, net primary productivity will be the right answer. What about net secondary productivity? After accounting for respiratory losses, net secondary productivity is defined as the increase in energy or biomass produced by consumers per unit area per unit time remaining. So after this process is over, there is secondary productivity, but primary productivity is what they have asked in the question. We can even rule out option 4. Next question, which among the following fuels produces least amount of soot particles during combustion? Actually, what is combustion? It is a process of burning. We can tell it in a plain way. It is a chemical process in which substances mix with oxygen in the air to produce heat and light. But what is actually combustion with regard to fuel? Combustion refers to the rapid oxidation of fuel accompanied by the production of heat or heat and light. Here they are asking which fuel produce least amount of soot particles. Soot is a dispersed carbon product of incomplete combustion or thermal decomposition of hydrocarbons consisting of particles of various sizes, shapes and black color. So these are the remaining parts, similar to a residue we can say. They are asking which fuel will produce least amount of wastage or least amount of remaining particles they are asking. The fuels that produce the least amount of soot particles during combustion are typically cleaner burning fuels such as natural gas and liquefied petroleum gas. These fuels combust more completely than coal or heavy oil, reducing the amount of particulate matter released into the air. The least amount of the wastage or the residue particles are given by cleaner burning fuels. What are those fuels? Natural gas and liquefied petroleum gas. What about this heavy oil? We can bring petrol, kerosene, diesel under heavy oil. When you use petrol, kerosene or diesel, the amount of soot particles will be more compared to natural gas and LPG. We will rule out the first three options and go with option number 4, compressed natural gas as the right answer. Here they have given us natural gas, but how does compressed natural gas become the answer? What is CNG? It is a natural gas compressed under pressure so that more of it occupies lesser volume in your fuel tank. So it is actually natural gas, but it is compressed. Next question, arrange the following states in ascending order according to their area under forest cover. So I have got this from the forest department website. So let's check for the states. Arunachal Pradesh, Chhattisgarh, Maharashtra is here, Madhya Pradesh is here, then Odisha. So let's take the total forest cover number alone. Arunachal Pradesh is 66,431. Then what is Chhattisgarh? It is 55,717. Maharashtra is 50,798. Odisha is 52,156. Madhya Pradesh is 77,493. So you have to pick values only from this particular column, total forest cover. So now we have to arrange it in ascending order, which is least here, Maharashtra. So we'll go with C. Then we have 52, it's Odisha. Then we have Chhattisgarh, 55, it is B. Then Arunachal Pradesh and then Madhya Pradesh. C, D, B, A, E. Option number 2 will be the right answer. Next question. Eye irritation is the common phenomenon during smog. It is mostly caused by formaldehyde, peroxyacetyl nitrate called as PAN, and acrolein. The spelling is EIN. It is given as IN here. Are known to cause eye irritation. These chemicals are present in smog, especially in photochemical smog, and are highly irritating to the eyes and respiratory system. Option number 2, A, B and D only will be the right answer. What about ozone? Ozone can cause respiratory issues and lung irritation, but it is not a primary cause of eye irritation compared to the other chemicals listed. Next question. Match list 1 with list 2. List 1 has international treaties and list 2 has key objectives. We'll start with A, Sendai framework. This focuses on the adoption of measures which address the 3 dimensions of disaster risk in order to prevent the creation of new risk, reduce existing risk and increase resilience. So what kind of disaster risk they have mentioned? Exposure to hazards, vulnerability and capacity, and hazards characteristics. So here we have something called disaster risk reduction. So in order to prevent and reduce is also there. So we will go with 3. A maps to 3. A3 is available only in one option. What about Monterey Consensus? Monterey Consensus was the outcome of the 2002 Monterey Conference, the United Nations International Conference on Financing for Development. So B will be mapping to 4, financing for development. What about Beijing Declaration? The Beijing Declaration and the Platform for Action adopted unanimously by 189 countries is an agenda for women's empowerment and considered the key global policy document on gender equality. Equality between men and women can be taken as gender equality. C will be mapping to 1. What about Brundtland Report? Our Common Future, also known as the Brundtland Report, was published in October 1987 by the United Nations. So here it's just an other name. D will be mapping to 2. Option number 1 will be the right answer. We will move on to Unit 10, Higher Education System. Arrange the following ancient Indian institutes from east to west direction. So this is north, this is south, this is east and this is west. So you have to move in this direction. Now let's see a map that I have got from the web. So the first option A is Takshashila, it is here. And then we have Nalanda, it is somewhere here, it is B. Then we have Vikramshila, it is here. And we have Sharda Pit, it is somewhere here. This is east and this is west. Start from the east, we start from Vikramashila. So C. Only one option is starting with C. After C we have Nalanda and Sharda Pit, but Nalanda comes to the east side. So we pick Nalanda next, it is B. Then we have Sharda Pit, D, and then the west side Takshashila, that is A. So D and A here. Option number 4 will be the right answer. Takshila University is actually present in Pakistan, while Nalanda and Vikramashila are present in Bihar. Next question. Which of the following universities were set up in 1916? Mysore University was established in 1916 by an act of the Mysore State Legislature. So C is in the answer. Banaras Hindu University was established in 1916 by an act of the Government of India. However, it was formally inaugurated in 1917. So they are just asking about when it was set up. Established here can be considered here. So Banaras Hindu University is also included. Srimati Nadibai Damodar Thakurse Women's University, which is known as SNDT Women's University, was established in 1916. So B is also included. B, C and E. Option number 2 will be the right answer. What about the other two options? Osmania University and Patna University. Osmania University, established in 1918, is the 7th oldest in the country, 3rd oldest in South India, and the first in the princely state of Hyderabad. Then the 7th oldest university in the Indian subcontinent and the first in Bihar, Patna University, was founded by an act of legislature on 1st of October 1917. Next question. Match list 1 with list 2. List 1 has the constitutional provision of education and list 2 has the article. So we will just get the article number and the details. Based on that, we will try to map them. Article 21A is actually right to education. D will be mapping to 2. We will rule out the other two. What is Article 15? Prohibition of discrimination on grounds of religion, race, caste, sex or place of birth. So this is talking about gender also. So here, taking gender into consideration, we can map it to women's education. A will be mapping to Article 15. A3 is available in both the options again. What about Article 28? Freedom as to attendance at religious instruction or religious worship in certain educational institutions. What word is actually connected to religious in list 1? Secular education. What is secularism? We are not connected by religions. That's why we call India to be a secular country. So secular education can be mapped to 1 Article 28. C1 is available in option 3. We can also rule out option 1 here. What about Article 29? Protection of interest of minorities. So we will map education of minorities to 4 Article 29 Part 3. So B is mapping to 4. Option number 3 will be the right answer. Next question. Which of the following is known as One Nation, One Student ID card? So just look at the option. Aadhaar card is actually available even for a kid. So we cannot take that. What about PAN card? Only when you are 18 years old you can apply for PAN card and voter ID card. So we are students since schools, so we cannot include these two also. So the only option that is left out is APAR card. Option number 3 will be the right answer. What is APAR card? APAR, which stands for Automated Permanent Academic Account Registry, is a specialized identification system designed for all students in India. This initiative is part of the One Nation, One Student ID program launched by the government, aligning with the new National Education Policy of 2020. Next question. According to National Credit Framework, NCRF, the credit level earned after doctoral degree, that is after PhD, will be what? So this is the NCRF levels for different academic grades, vocational education, training, skilling and assessment bands. This question is about doctoral degree. So just check for doctoral degree. Here we have National Credit Framework credit levels. Look at this column. What is the number given? It is 8.0. So we will go with option number 2, 8 as the right answer. So also have an idea about PG, UG, senior secondary and secondary. You might need it for some other question paper. Let's move on to Unit 3, Comprehension. Read the following passage and answer the questions that follow. Odisha has colorful fairs and festivals and are as numerous as the days of the year. The sacred journey of Lord Jagannath with brother Balabhadra and sister Subhadra from the Jagannath temple to the divine shrine called the Gundicha temple is known as the Car festival or the Radayatra. On this occasion, the deities adorn 3 chariots named Nandigosha, Taladvaja and Darpadalana respectively. They stay in the divine shrine for 9 days and then return to the Jagannath temple. This journey is called Bahuda Jatra. This grand festival of Odisha is visited by lakhs of devotees from India and abroad who pull the sacred chariots from the Jagannath temple to the Gundicha temple and back on a broad road called Badadanda. The festival begins from the second day of Shukla Paksha, the bright half we will say, in the month of Ashada, June, July every year. This festival of Lord Jagannath, who is worshipped as the Lord of the universe, is celebrated not only in Puri but also in many other places in India and abroad. So whenever we talk about Jagannath temple, we will actually term it as Puri Jagannath temple. So let's answer the questions. Whereas the festival of Lord Jagannath is celebrated in many places in India and abroad, it is primarily associated with which city? It is actually called as Puri Jagannath temple. So it is associated with option number 2, Puri. Next question. What are the names of the deities who accompany Lord Jagannath in the Rath Yatra? So here they have told the sacred journey of Lord Jagannath with brother Balabhadra and sister Subhadra from Jagannath to the Gundicha temple. So this path from Jagannath to Gundicha is what they call as Rath Yatra. Option number 1, Subhadra and Balabhadra will be the right answer. So the second option is about Balabhadra and Shiva, then Subhadra and Hidimba, Balabhadra and Hidimba. So they did not give any detail about Shiva or Hidimba, so we will rule out all these 3. Next question. The sacred journey of Lord Jagannath is traditionally undertaken onward to which divine shrine? So here the Rath Yatra is from the Jagannath temple to the divine shrine called the Gundicha temple. Option 4 will be the right answer. Next question. The Car festival is conducted on a broad road that is called, here they have mentioned, this grand festival of Odisha is visited by lakhs of devotees from India and abroad who pull the sacred chariots from Jagannath temple to Gundicha temple and back on a broad road called Badadanda. So to and fro they use the broad road called Badadanda. It is available in option number 3. Option 3 will be the right answer. What are the other options like Taladvaja and Darpadalana? They are actually the deities adorning the 3 chariots, namely Nandigosha, Taladvaja and Darpadalana. So it is not the broad road. And what about Ashada? It is actually the month. So that is also not there. We can rule out the other 3 options. Next question. What is the name assigned to the journey wherein the deities return to the Jagannath temple after 9 days? So from Jagannath temple to Gundicha temple, it is Radayatra or the Car festival we can say. They stay in the divine shrine for 9 days. After the 9 days stay, they return to the Jagannath temple. This journey is called Bahuda Jatra. Option number 4, Bahuda Jatra will be the right answer. It is not Ratha Yatra, it is from Jagannath to Gundicha and this is from Gundicha to Jagannath. So Vapsi Yatra and Mahayatra are not mentioned in this paragraph. So we can rule out the first 3 options. With this we are completing paper 1 solutions.